Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis in the county of in the state of Tennessee. Dang date is early Sunday morning, November the 24th, 2019, the time 2:10 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your continued encouragement support. I continue to keep myself employed right here in the Memphis tri-state area. I continue to further my education at Monroe College online. I continue to pursue my social degree, studying business administration, contracting market. At the present time, take a break and go to school, but in the very near future, I will be going back to Monroe College online to continue to pursue my social degree, studying business administration, contracting market. As I've stated in the previous months, I went to this Health Tech Institute in Memphis. Started school back in January, 9-month program, this medical assistant program, and and the reason why I did that because back in 2009, 2010, I was a student at this Remington College in this medical business coding school, and I did graduate in the medical business code, but I didn't get the certification in medical business code, so can't be if you're not certified, then you can't work in the medical field. So like I said, I enrolled in this medical assistant program at Health Tech Institute of Memphis, right here in the Memphis tri-state area, and it was a 9-month program, and I did graduate this past October of this year, 2019, and then I took the certification, and I earned the certification, and so I'm working on getting the other certifications, 3 other certifications, phlebotomy technician, EKG technician, and a health record specialist, and so I'm working on those 3 as well. But what I want to get into right now, excuse me, and I know it's 2:12 a.m. in the morning. I've been up since about 12 o'clock, getting myself ready and things of this nature. And so, being able to start my video, pretty much a few minutes behind, but pretty much on schedule. I want to give myself enough time because there's so many things that I be trying to do. But want to say that we've been talking about the city of Chicago and things of this nature. It's important, what I'm saying? It's important because it's a lot of people, excuse me, it's a lot of, excuse me, man. It's a lot of people that's, that live in the city of Chicago and as well as outside the city of Chicago and Illinois, and it's a lot of history. It's a lot of history, and some people, like we've been talking about this East Coast bitch, that's this devil worship over there on the East Coast, and trying to leave the East Coast and trying to live in other parts of the country for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying? You do things for the wrong reason, and and the same thing with the city of Chicago, you know what I'm saying? The East Coast bitch had the nerve to try to horseplay with other people and call yourself, I guess you're trying to sneak up to Chicago, I guess, because there's so many over the street organizations, you understand, and call yourself try to hide. I guess you try to hide. Well, see, there's no such thing. Now if somebody call themselves trying to help you, you know what I'm saying? Trying to help you to hide in Chicago. I mean, it don't last that long. It don't last that long. But like I said, just to make a long story short, you know what I'm saying? It's been and still being important topic, an important issue to address is Chicago. Number one, number one priority, Chicago. Number one priority. See, people do things for the wrong reason. It ain't no such thing, no blood gang, no crip gang in Chicago. You can't make Chicago be the blood gang because there's no such thing. It's just like Los Angeles, California. See, you tried to make it, you try to give everybody the impression like it was something that no. See, people do things for the wrong, just like I've been saying, the East Coast bitch. See, a lot of people don't know history. A lot of people don't have no education. And that's true. And see, the people that do have education have done other people who didn't have education wrong by lying. Just like you lie about the Bible, you lie about history, you just lie about any and everything. And that's what it is. There's a lot of lies you tell. Because to be honest with you, who told you that the blood gang and the crip gang was supposed to be a Los Angeles gang? Because, people left the East Coast and moved out west, and they brought all that ignorance with them. And see, there was a lot of people that was, the history of Chicago, the history of America. See, there were people, they talk about the Illinois Indians, and when you say Chicago, the Native Americans, and people came from Europe and settled on the East Coast and made it all the way over to Illinois, Chicago. You see, the history of America, and you see, and so on and so forth, you see, but the East Coast bitch is trying to make it sound like you getting away with horse playing with other people. And so, like I said, as I stated earlier, no such thing as hiding. It ain't. Somebody might try to, somebody might not say anything about you being in Chicago or something like that. But if I want to find it, I'll find it. Push come to shove. I go get the bloodhound, like I said already. Go get the bloodhound, and the bloodhound will get your scent. The bloodhound will pick up your scent. Just like all them other hounds, them foxhounds, them harriers, they will pick up your scent. Now the harrier and the foxhound, they will chase you all day and all night. They'll run you all day and all night. You're not gonna get away. That bloodhound will pick up your scent, and you're just not gonna get away. Now you try to rub yourself down. With some kind of stupid stuff. You call yourself trying to keep the bloodhound from picking up your scent. It don't work. The bloodhound will pick up your scent. We'll go get some more bloodhound. They say it don't work. You can't rub yourself down like one bloodhound, and if that one bloodhound get angry, get irritated by some stuff that you done rub yourself down with. Only thing you done did, picked up this scent. Because when the dog smell that, when the bloodhound smell that and the hound smell that, we got you. We done found you. See? It don't work. That just lets me know that you rubbed yourself down. Because, usually you ain't gonna find no pepper spray out there. And then, we smell it. The dog smell it. The bloodhound smell it. The hound. We found you. And it's just a matter of time for you to be captured. And so, don't think that, you're getting away with horse playing. Don't think you're getting away with horse playing. Whatever you do, don't think you're getting away with horseback. Talking you gonna hide. Them bloodhounds, them harriers, them foxhounds, them coonhounds will find you. Now that bloodhound, that's what a hound is for. That's what the hound was bred. That's what the dog was made for. To hunt. And the way he hunt with his nose. The bloodhound got the strongest nose of all dog breeds. That's the reason why he was bred that way. See, they got all these different breeds of dogs, German shepherds. He a guard dog. He a shepherd. That's what he would do. The poodle, sporting dog, Labrador retriever. That's what he is. He a retriever. The pointer, the setter, so on and so forth. See, dog was designed to do what they were designed to do. The bloodhound and the foxhound, that was the foxhound. That's the reason why they call him a foxhound. He'll go out there and run. When the fox run, the foxhound run behind him. He'll chase the fox all day, all night. All day and all night. He'll run all day and all night. And when he be running, he pick up his scent. And the fox try to hide. Just like a coonhound. When a coonhound, why they call him a coon? Raccoon. He hunt raccoons. The raccoon will run up a tree. The coonhound, he act like he want to climb the tree. He'll try. He'll pick up a scent. And the raccoon will try to fight back. Well, see, that's the reason why they bred the coonhound the way he was bred. He'll fight. They'll get to fight. The coonhound and the raccoon will get to fight. They'll get to fight. So, East Coast bitch, if you think you smart, I'll show you. You're not smart. You're not smart. And see, when they catch you, gonna kill you. See, you try to play with people. See, and you make people mad. And when you make people mad, they kill you. They're gonna kill you. What's gonna happen to the East Coast bitch gonna kill you. Just like what's been going on, just happening in the jail. Can't do your time. Making people mad. Think you can play with people talking about some damn devil worship. Now you're getting hurt and getting killed in the jail. All around this country getting hurt, getting killed in the jail by other prisoners. Out here on the street, having a hard time. You think you can play with other people. Talking about some damn devil worship. You don't do nothing but get yourself into a lot of trouble. Make other people mad. You don't get yourself in trouble. You don't get hurt. You get killed. Horse playing with other people. What time? No. I was looking at the clock. You know. So East Coast bitch, you ain't getting away. You're not getting away. Not getting away. See, when you think about Chicago, let me give you an example. Let me give everybody a good example. Jesse Jackson. There ain't no reason for you being in Chicago. Ain't no reason for being in Chicago. Ain't no such thing, no Baptist church. No such thing. It's a lie. Ain't no such thing, no Baptist church. Nowhere in the Bible do you see nowhere in the Bible. Saul lied. Paul. He lied. That's all you be doing, lying. And you one of them East Coast bitches. See, now everybody see. Ain't no reason for you to be in Chicago. You're horse playing with other people. But see, in your case, ain't necessarily gotta go get the bloodhound. I already know it yet. The AK-47 though. See, horse playing with other people. Making people mad. Talking about some damn devil worship. You ain't got nothing to say to nobody in Chicago or anywhere else. There ain't no reason for this East Coast bitch to be living in Chicago. No reason whatsoever. And you can take that Farrakhan, which no reason, there ain't no such thing, no Islam, man. That's really why I keep reading the Bible and keep doing the things I do. There's no such thing. It's a big lie. It's a big lie. Them ancient Afro-Asiatic people, they ain't nothing new. Islam, entire submission to the will of God. Muslim, one who entirely submits their will to the will of Allah, God. Ain't nothing new. Them devil, ancient devil worshiping people. That's where it came from. Read the Old Testament. The Egyptian Pharaoh, he prayed to his God, and Moses prayed to his God. That's where it came from. Them ancient Afro-Asiatic people, the Girgasites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites, the Hittites. Now the Hittites is an Indo-European. The Hittites, Indo-European. They're not Afro-Asiatic. And the Perizzites. And then you had the Midianites, the Moabites. See them people? Now the Philistines. The Philistine, that's an Indo-European. So Farrakhan and all, and what's the Nation of Islam, and then you had this other one, the Moorish Science Temple, and then you got this other one, American Muslim Society. Man, ain't no such thing. Them ancient Afro-Asiatic people, they ain't. Ain't no reason for you to be in Chicago. No reason for you to be in Chicago. No. Horse playing with other people. Lying. And I mean, no, that's another reason. That's another person. I ain't gotta go get the bloodhound to pick up a scent. Don't have to go get the foxhounds and the harriers to chase you with. So, East Coast bitch, you ain't getting away. You ain't getting away. But you getting got. You ain't getting away, but you getting got. You're gonna keep on getting you. Gonna keep on getting you. Now, see, there's no such thing as no blood gang, no crip gang. in the city of Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. No such thing. Be lying, talking about some bloodstone and limestone and all that, and wearing hats and all. You be lying. You be lying. no such thing as a blood gang or crip gang in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. No such thing. No such thing, no bloodstone, no limestone, anything else in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. You lying. That East Coast bitch, that bloodhound, you gonna get your scent. You gonna pick up your scent. You see, them Harriers, them foxhounds, they'll chase you all day, all night. They'll chase you all day, all night. When I catch you, See, this, this is the reason why I keep saying there's no such thing as no blood gang, no crip gang in Chicago or in the state of Illinois or the surrounding state or nowhere else. See, the East Coast bitch call themselves being a smart ass. Talking about some damn devil worship. Even out there in Los Angeles, that's the reason why I keep saying over and over again. Retaliate on the so-called blood gang and the crip gang in Los Angeles, California. That's the reason why. The East Coast bitch. The East Coast bitch. There's no such thing as a blood gang or crip gang anyway. There's no such thing. It's a made-up junk. It's the East Coast bitch trying to use the blood gang and the crip gang as a disguise for devil worship. The East Coast bitch call themselves being a devil worship. See, those the sorority and the fraternity on the East Coast, them old world secret societies from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, them old world secret societies. For example, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, for example, them old world secret societies, devil worship. Retaliate on the so-called blood gang and the crip gang out there in Los Angeles, California. No such thing. There's no such thing. They use that as a disguise. Just like that so-called bloodstone, limestone, devil worship. Devil worship. Now, now we just saw on the video the 10 most known street gangs in Chicago. Those the blacks. Now you know you got white, so-called white or European gangs, and the Hispanic Latino gang, and so on and so forth, and in Chicago, Illinois. And so, like I said, no such thing, no blood gang, no Crip gang in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. There's no history. Excuse me. There's no history of a so-called blood gang or Crip gang in Chicago. No such thing. There's no history. And see, no such thing as a bloodstone or a limestone or anything else like that in Chicago, Illinois. There's no history whatsoever. And so, for that reason, that's why I've been saying, get those AK-47 to Chicago, Illinois. Get them AK-47s up to Chicago, Illinois. Cause see, the East Coast bitch, horse playing in Chicago, Illinois. And so, talking about some damn devil worship and all that. But what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna take a few minutes. We're gonna do a little history on, folks and my people's history. And we're gonna be referring to on this history. We just seen some videos on history, but website we can go to Chicago ganghistory.com and all that, and so on and so forth. What we're gonna be going on today is the Four Corner Hustlers, the Four Corner Hustler Vice Lords. And so the Four Corner Hustler Vice Lords. They vice lords, you know what I'm saying? When they started, they were started by some vice lords. And the Four Corner Hustlers founded 1968 by Walter Wheat. Young man named Walter Wheat. Now, let me scroll down here. Now I said the Four Corner Hustler said from a quote in the Chicago Tribune. Early history of the Four Corner Hustler, there was a time when the Four Corner Hustler actually stood for four corners, representing a meager 6 square blocks on the west side of Chicago. And it said there was indeed a time back in the year 1960 that two vice lords, teenage boys, had an idea on how to protect a certain area in the West Garfield Park neighborhood from invaders from outside the area that threatened the neighborhood with drug dealing, gang banging, and violence. The idea of the Four Corner Hustle was one thing, neighborhood protection, and that did not mean only protection for their members, but for everyone that lived in this territory. The territory was Madison Street and Pulaski Road, Independence Boulevard and Madison Street, Pulaski Road and Jackson Boulevard, and Independence Boulevard and Jackson Boulevard, and all the street corners in between, including Jackson and Springfield, Springfield and Adams, Springfield and Wilcox, Springfield and Monroe, Springfield and Madison, Madison and Hamlin, Monroe and Hamlin and Wilcox, Adams and Hamlin, Jackson and Hamlin, Pulaski and Monroe, Pulaski and Wilcox and Pulaski and Adams. That is quite a bit of territory for a brand new gang for 17-year-old Walter Wheat, who had just left the unknown vice lord, born April 11, 1951, and another vice lord named 15-year-old Marvin Evans made it happen. They organized it with another unknown vice lord, 15-year-old Freddie Gage, and Richard Left Hand Goodman, and Monroe Moneybanks, and approximately 7 others. Freddie Gage would become second in command over this new organization, and said they formed a fighting gang. Now drug dealing gang or a gang that destroyed their own neighborhood in protest and anger like the Vice Lord did back then. Instead, they were going to beat down any gang that came in there acting destructive. This idea was all put together at the Delano Playground at the corner of Springfield and Wilcox. The Four Corner Hustlers had strict rules to abide by: no drug dealing, no drug using, not even marijuana, no mugging, no burglarizing, but shoplifting and stealing from delivery trucks was fully acceptable. Any violence inflicted on rival gang was acceptable too. Shooting, stabbing, cracking skulls, whatever needed to be done to show who was running those corners was acceptable. And on February 14, 1972, Four Corner Hustlers and unknown Vice Lord gang members attended a Valentine's Day dance at 3908 Lexington Avenue, corner Springfield and Lexington at the Presentation Catholic Church. The dance was an invite-only situation. Officer Henderson Arnold told everyone they must have a membership card in order to stay at the dance. And in the basement, 18-year-old Freddie Gaines was one that did not have an invitation. Officer Arnold told him to leave. When he refused, a struggle happened between the officer and Gaines that resulted in Arnold's gun firing off, which caused a bullet to hit Officer Arnold in his face and neck. Afterward, Four Corner Hustler Leo Walker came up with his .22 caliber Derringer and started shooting at Arnold as well, while Freddie Gaines and Walter Wheat tackled him. According to court documents, as Officer Arnold tried to escape, he was being shot at. Arnold survived and needed surgery to repair the damage. He was shot 3 times. It was at this point in time that Frederick King Freddie Gaines now was sentenced to do 10 years in prison for this attempted murder. And it was at this point in time that the Four Corner Hustlers were first documented. However, they were not widely known. That was a court case. Now, it says here that even though Four Corner Hustlers were violent as could be and were heavily into robbing trucks and stores, they were not a heavily organized conglomerate with thousands of members like the Black Gangster Disciples, the Vice Lord, the Black Peace Stones, or Latin Kings. The Four Corner Hustlers remained rather small in size and did what they needed to do to protect their turf and to hustle and make money without resorting to destroying the neighborhood with drugs. That was the job of rivals like the Vice Lords and nearby Black Gangster Disciples. Now, around about 1975, Walter Wheat was sentenced to prison for aggravated assault and some other charges. He was to spend over 10 years in prison at this point. Without King Wheat or King Freddie, the Four Corner Hustle began to be slowly seduced by the lull of the heroin trade that was forbidden by Walter Wheat and Freddie Gaines. Around this time, the Black Souls were getting larger in number in West Garfield Park and wanted to expand their drug trade. The new Black Soul leader was Wayne Jack Bobo Edwards, and he was looking for a new opportunity at Monroe and Pulaski. This corner was originally Four Corner Hustler territory, but Jack Bobo was looking to make some profits. He offered to operate here as respectfully as they would team up against the Vice Lords and any Black Gangster Disciple that came in to the area. This was the creation of the 440 plus concept that united Four Corner Hustlers and Black Souls to create Mad Black Souls. This was a small start for Four Corner Hustlers to be involved in the drug trade, although it was impossible for them to operate at a high level because it would fall under the radar of the imprisoned leadership. In 1977, leaders Walter Wheat, Monroe Banks, and Freddie Gaines needed better protection while locked up in prison, so they drew up a truce with the Vice Lord Nation. This would stop all wars in prison and on the streets. And in April 1978, the People Nation Alliance was formed, and the Vice Lords were one of the main organizations to put it together and in charge of what organizations get in. The Four Corner Hustlers were fairly new and an organization did not have much to offer the People Alliance as far as advancing the drug trade. Therefore, the Four Corner Hustlers joined the Vice Lord Nation while in prison as Vice Lord branch. On the streets, this did not mean that foes were going around claiming Vice Lord. It only meant it changed in colors from black and brown to black and gold and peace with vice lords, and it also meant conversation to conversion to Islam, just as the vice lord nation had done to unite with El Rukns. Now, as time passed and the 1980s rolled in, the Four Corner Hustle was slowly slipping away from Walter Wheat's grasp, as him and Gage was still locked up, and the foes were slowly engaging in more and more drug dealing. In late October of 1983, Freddie Gage was scheduled to be released from prison after his 10-year stint for attempted murder of a Chicago police officer on the Valentine's Day shooting in 1972. On the day before his release, he celebrated by drinking some bad moonshine that ended up killing him. He died at 29 years old. On November the 1st, 1983, a massive funeral service was put together for Gage, which brought 5,000 people to his funeral. The funeral consisted of many members of the Vice Lords and Four Corner Hustle and several others. There was a massive line down Chicago Avenue that caused one lane of traffic to be blocked, and police needed to direct the traffic. Chicago Tribune, June 8, 1984, the story made the first page in the Chicago Tribune, but the funny thing is that they called him a conservative vice lord leader and did not even mention the Four Corner Hustle. This showed that the foes were not quite known yet in Chicago, but they would soon change. The first of the main founders of the nation, Freddie Al Malik, who died Gage now, was laid to rest. In 1985, Marvin Shorty Evans retired from the gang life and found religion, leaving just Walter Wheat and Monroe Money Banks as original leaders of the organization, but both were in prison. And in 1986, Monroe Money Banks was released from prison after doing time for a 1975 charge of robbery, rape, and unlawful restraint. And it said in November 17, 1975, Monroe Banks, Ray Surge, and Philip Smith plotted to rob Starks at gunpoint. After Starks gave up all his money, it was not enough, so Banks and the two others forced Starks into their truck and took Starks to his house. According to court documents, when they got to the house, Banks pistol whipped Starks and knocked him out while the three others robbed the house. Court documents show that Banks and Smith raped the wife and 14-year-old daughter. By the time Banks was on trial for these crimes, he was brought up on murder charges. That same year and was sentenced to 15 to 30 years. That was in 1981. And in the year 1986, Banks was released early out on parole. As soon as Banks hit the streets, he found the Four Corner Hustle was selling drugs in small quantity and loving the money that came with it. Banks would show them a higher level of dealing that would make the foes richer than ever. With now the distribution of crack cocaine, he set up a complex drug operating and expanded Four Corner Hustle territory into the northern part of the Austin neighborhood, which was the beginning of the true growth of the Four Corner Hustle. Right away, drug profits began stacking up in money, and Monroe Banks was living up to his nickname Money. He also created the black diamond symbol to represent the newfound profits and the new order. This was a hell of a come up for the foes, and this led to more violent behavior, so much that in the late 1980s, when Walter Wheat was released from prison, he did not recognize his foes anymore and left the leadership to Banks. However, Wheat still had a major voice in the organization. And during the later 1980s, the Four Corner Hustle got deeper embedded in the drug trade. It led to more violent crime. Being the future leader of the Four Corner Hustlers, Angelo Roberts, was one member that caught up in a murder case alongside Four Corner Hustle co-founder Eugene Rooney. According to the court case of the People vs. Rooney, January 24, 1980, in Chicago, police found the dead body of Stephen Edwards found behind a jewel grocery store located at 3552 West Grand Avenue in the West Humboldt Park neighborhood. The man was beaten to death and tied up with torn strips of bed sheets around his face, neck, hands, knees, and thighs. He cuts dug into his chest that caused lots of bleeding. It appeared Edwards had been kidnapped and tortured. The detectives then visited Edwards' address at 3841 West Adams in the West Garfield Park neighborhood, which is right in the middle of the original Four Corner Hustlers territory. Edwards was living in the basement of the building and was a drug addict. The landlord was interviewed and gave permission for the police to enter the building and search the basement. They also spoke to Roney. The police found evidence the murder happened in the basement, as the torn rags found on Edwards matched the bed springs that Edwards slept on in the basement. And said Roney told police that Edwards had been accused by his girlfriend Carolyn Lewis of stealing from her, and she wanted him to leave her alone. That's when she went to Roney to help keep Edwards away. And said in another incident, sometime later in the month, Edwards and another man were cooking cocaine and heroin in the basement when they broke out into an argument about how much drugs each of them would get. Roney and Angelo Roberts said they came downstairs to break up the fight. Roney and Roberts alleged they saw Edwards hit his partner with a stool. So Roney hit Edwards with a lead pipe in the back of the legs and twice in the head, making it into a protection type of murder. Roney originally stated that Edwards left with two men in a car after the argument, but later admitted he killed them, but made it look accidental or justified. Forensic experts testified they found extensive evidence of repeated blows all over his body and found stab wounds in each leg, in each lung. They also found evidence the man was tied up as he was beaten and stabbed. And said Roney had said there was a party at the building and had happened to hear the commotion downstairs and came to discipline Edwards. However, it was later confirmed there was no party that day. It then became conclusive that the murder was planned and Roney was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. His violent past perhaps did not help his case because he was once convicted of murder in 1969 as well. Angelo Roberts wouldn't cooperate when interviewed by police, and he used his Fifth Amendment rights to not testify against Roney, proving that Angelo Roberts was no snitch and was loyal to the organization. He also avoided charge of trying to conceal a homicide and unlawful use of a weapon. He was later suspected of shooting a police officer in 1990, but managed to dodge conviction. And that was the way he handled this case enhanced his reputation greatly. And saying Eugene Roney is presently still in prison serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. These young foes were a new breed of killer types that followed every teaching of Monroe Banks, and they modeled after him. Banks was known to be ruthless and very serious about not letting competition get in his way. This led to increased gang wars into the very early 1990s. This also led to the death of Monroe Banks in August of 1991. According to the History Channel's show Gangland, he was shot while watching a man trying to get a cat down from a tree. Then a member of the Black Soul shot him dead. This murder would, of course, further intensify the wars with Black Soul factions. And by the end of his reign, Banks was able to have the Four Corner Hustlers open up shop in the New York West Side housing projects, the Henry Horner Homes and the Rockwell Garden Homes. He also took the foes to the South Side to open chapters in the Woodlawn neighborhood, Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood, LeClaire Courts Homes by Midway Airport in the Garfield Ridge neighborhood at 43rd and Cicero Avenue, Marquette Park neighborhood, Kenwood neighborhood, South Shore neighborhood, Roseland neighborhood, and the West Pullman neighborhood. The foes also grew into some Chicagoland suburbs and other states. After Monroe Money, Gunny Banks was killed. The throne was wide open, and Walter Wheat was not going to step back. Instead, he appointed his soon-to-be son-in-law, Angelo Lowe Roberts, to be the new leader of the organization. Lowe was only 21 years old, but wanted to rule the nation badly, and the money and power that went with it. Wheat was hoping the father of his grandchild would bring the foes to a more controllable level and smooth out operating. Roberts instead brought even more expansion than ever, and this even brought a new section to the white and increasingly Hispanic neighborhood of Belmont Cragen in the early 1992 Puerto Rican youths from Lockwood and Algale had joined the Four Corner Hustle and asked Angelo to bless them with their own chapter in the neighborhood. Angelo granted Mouse and his cousin the request, and Lockwood and Algale foes would now become Spanish Four Corner Hustlers. Mouse would run these Spanish foes until he was put in Statesville prison. The Spanish Four Corner Hustlers immediately made new enemies that were not just folks, but also went at it with the Taylor Jousters and the Latin Pachuchos. Angelo Roberts also made the organization no longer a game for just blacks. Now all races could join up north and in the suburbs. This would, of course, grow the Four Corner Hustle Army, now number over 1,000 members in no time. Angelo also grew the organization in many other states like Atlanta, Georgia, for example, that still pays homage to him. Roberts also set up a complex drug operation in the Rockwell Garden Housing Projects and the Henry Horner Homes, and was moving thousands, if not millions, of dollars worth of crack and heroin within these buildings. The Chicago police clamped down on him and did a major raid on his organization, which got Roberts in jail. Roberts was then held bent on revenge and wanted to send a message to the police and the whole world: if you just bust in on this operation, there will be major consequence. Robert also had Walter Wheat breathing down his neck, telling him what should be done, and others listened to Wheat and put Roberts in check. By 1994, Robert despised this and saw Wheat as someone in the way of all that Angelo wanted to accomplish. When Roberts got out of prison in June of 1911, he began his escapades. And on July 25, 1994, Angelo Roberts plotted on the death of Walter Wheat. On this Monday, July 25, 1994, 43-year-old Walter Wheat was sitting in a 1982 Oldsmobile Regency waiting for his friends to come back out, as they were in a clothing store at the 3800 block of West Chicago Avenue. As he sat there, a shirtless 17-year-old Bobby Cooley rolled up on the car with a 9mm pistol and fired 2 shots into his back and the back of his head. The founder, leader, and longtime leader behind the leaders of the Four Corner Hustle was now killed by his own gang. By September, Cooley was apprehended and charged with another shooting as well. He is currently doing a life sentence for killing King Walter al-Baghdadi Hadari Wheat. That's August 19, 1994. Roberts attempted to buy all the high-powered weapons in what he thought was a deal with drugs, as he attempted to buy a Laws anti-tank rocket in exchange for cash and drugs. It turned out he was trying to buy from ATF agents. Somehow there was no arrest at the scene because Roberts got suspicious and went into hiding for the rest of 1994. Roberts wanted to use these weapons to blow up the police headquarters at 3151 West Harrison Street on Chicago West Side for revenge for interrupting his drug operating in the housing projects. That was in January 17, 1995. On January 16, 1995 at 1 a.m., Chicago Police Department found the body of Roberts at 7009 South Vernon, 70th and Vernon, right near the Parr Manor Apartments in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood. He was found with his throat slashed in the back of a brown Chevy. No one has ever been caught in connection for the murder. And that was in January 17, 1995. The streets know that his own organization killed him in retaliation for Walter Wheat's death. The planned murder was heavily frowned upon by the higher ranking and older foes. And saying after the death of Angelo Roberts, Ray Longstreet took over leadership of the Four Corner Hustlers. Eventually the Four Corner Hustlers would grow to have over 18,000 members. Many Four Corner Hustlers still pay homage to Angelo Roberts, Monroe Banks, and Walter Wheat. The Four Corner Hustlers would eventually grow to have over 10,000 members. respect for no backstab. Ain't no respect for no backstab. You know what it sound like to me? It sound like instead of listening to Chicago, instead of listening to the Vice Lord Walter Wheat, sound like to me the East Coast bitch had some influence in Angelo Roberts. Sound like that what it sound like to me. You know. But he got what he deserved. I don't feel sorry for Angelo Roberts. I feel sorry for Walter Wheat and his daughter and the little child, you know. The little child grow up, you done murdered this little child, grandfather, Walter Wheat, for nothing, for no reason. I don't feel sorry for Angelo Roberts. He got what he deserved. I'm glad they found his body. He was murdered in retaliation for murdering Walter Wheat. And now, before I go to my Instagram, let me see what time. Now, before I do my Instagram, I want to go to the Bible. There's nothing in the Holy Bible, in the Old Testament or New Testament, that tells you to worship the devil. There's no such thing. You made it up. It's some made up lies. You be lying. Now, Now let me go to the Bible. Let me go to the Old Testament, the book of Genesis, and I'm gonna start reading chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, and I'm gonna start reading right there in verse number 20. And Adam gave names to all cattle and to the fowl of the air and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him. And the Lord God caused deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now we're going to continue our reading in the book of Genesis. We're going to go to chapter 3. That's what we want to get to. Chapter 3. Start reading in verse number 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done, pay attention, this is what we want to get to. See, this is what I've been saying, and this is what the Bible, the Holy Bible tells you. There's no such thing as worshiping the devil. There's no such thing as devil in worship. There's no such thing as Satanism. No such thing. You be lying. There's no such thing. You be lying. This is what we want to get to. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because the serpent being punished, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow in thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. And Adam called his wife name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skin, and clothe them. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword, which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. There's no such thing as worshiping the devil. There's no such thing as Satanism. There's no such thing as you not being obedient to God. There's no such thing as you not as you being defiant. There's no such thing. There's no such thing God gonna allow you to be disobedient. I'm talking about the devil. As you can see, the serpent, which was Satan, which was the devil, was punished by God. it says here, that that Abraham believed in the Lord. So we still in the Old Testament. Okay, we're good. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 15. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 15. And we over here with Abram, before he was Abraham, Abram. And it says here that, starting in verse number 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram saying, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur for the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, in horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterwards shall they come out with great suffering, and thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, that's an Indo-European, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. So as you can see, the people that God told Abram to go possess the land, God told Abram to possess that land because these people were devil worshippers. They were devil worshippers. Now, it don't specifically say that, but that's what it implies. You didn't believe in the Lord God. You didn't believe that God was the Lord of all. You didn't believe. See? And see, these people, as we go on into our reading, then you will really begin to see that these people were devil worship. As it said, devil and worship, no such thing, but we identify as devil and worship, Satan worship, and all that kind of stuff. But that's what these people were. They call themselves worshiping the devil. No such thing. No such thing. And so, okay, that was in the book of Genesis. And so, let me refer to my notes here. Genesis chapter 31. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 31. Genesis chapter 31. And then you know the story. Now you know in the book of Genesis chapter 31, this is the story about Jacob and his wife Rachel. And as you know, Rachel, she stole her father's images, meaning these are objects that they use for worship, the devil. Now let me read this. Now, let me see here. It says we in the book of Genesis chapter 31. And we're gonna start reading. In verse 19. It says, and Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. It said that, let me move down here. Alright, let me see here. Let me move down. It said, verse 32. They said, with whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live before our brethren. Discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Okay. Let me move down here in verse 34. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in her camel's furnace and sat upon them, and Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. Now, let me see. Let me move down. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Okay, so that was Genesis chapter 31, verses 19 through 55. Now let me refer over here to Genesis chapter 35. What time is it? Okay, Genesis chapter 35. Let's read verses 1 through 4. And God said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. Now, see, all that so-called devil and worship and all that junk, you be lying. You be lying. Let me refer over there. Time. let me read. Let me see what time run. Okay. Then let's read Exodus chapter 20. Just one more verse. Exodus chapter 20. Let's go to verses 4 and 5. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children until the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Now, so we see there's no such thing as what was it that you said? Worshiping the devil. No such thing. So what I'm gonna do now? Let me see. I'm gonna do my Instagram. Start my Instagram. Oh, I know what before I do my Instagram, I'm gonna make sure when it comes to that so-called Islam stuff, we just see that's where Islam came from. All them different Afro-Asiatic people that we read about in the Old Testament. You see where it's talking about put away them strange gods. See, that's where Islam and anti-Semitic, Islam anti-Semitic to the will of God, and Muslim one who anti-Semitic that will, to God. That's where it came from. Them ancient Afro-Asiatic people. That's where it came from. Let me get the map. Now this is a world map. This is a world map. The whole world. This is a world map. Now this is a map of the languages of Africa. Now this is another map of the languages of Africa. And this is the top part. This is the top of the map. Now this is the Afro-Asiatic map. This is another Afro-Asiatic map. Now this is a Nilo-Saharan map. Now this is another Nilo-Saharan map. Now this is a Niger-Congo map. Now this is another Niger-Congo map. Now this is an Albanian language map. Now this is the Baltic languages, Lithuania, Latvia, and also might be Lithuania, Latvia. I think it might be Estonia. It's a Greek language map. And this is a map of all the Slavic language, all the Slavic speaking people. Now this is an Altaic language map. Altaic language map. this is the Euro Altitude map, and that's why I said, remember, Estonia. Now this is the Romanian language map. So now let's go to Instagram. Let's go to Instagram. Let me see. Let's go to Instagram. Trying to make sure I time it right, because you know Instagram will give you about 60 minutes, so I'm trying to time it. I was looking at the recording clock. Gonna be right at 2 hours. So once I start my Instagram, then after I do my Instagram, then I'm gonna start my second, part two, because it wouldn't make sense for me to try to start my recording my video and then have 3 hours. It was my intent to do 2.5, and then 2.5. Well, it might be, so today it might be this video that I'm recording now, it might be about 3 hours. Then after, the other one might be 2 hours. Hello everybody, my name is Eric. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. Everybody here in the city of Memphis, it's in the county, Stevens, and state of Tennessee. Today, it's early, Sunday morning, November 24th, 2019. The time, 4:10 a.m. First, I thank all my family support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you go to make anti-gang logo. Now, always put God first. First one, always give thanks to God for all the blessings and the guidance He provides us all with. And there's no such thing as worship no devil and all that ignorant stuff. There's no such thing as you lying. There's no such thing as Satanism and devil and worship and all that other stupid stuff and all them lies you be telling. You be lying. Now, start my Instagram video posting because I've been on my YouTube channel recording, and after I do my Instagram video, it's my intent to do my Periscope video, and so now while I'm doing this, I'm gonna be talking. Now, as you can see, there's no such thing, no blood gang, no crip gang in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. There's no such thing, no bloodstone, no limestone in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. Now, all that street slang like gang and mob, put stir on the end. Merriam-Webster's Third New International Dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, gives you a complete and total definition of the meaning of the word gang, mob, and stir. And then you have slang terms like boss and goon, and thug, and crook and hooligan, mac and player, pimp and whore, and hustler, and nigga, field nigga, house nigga. Then you have street slang terms for like music, hip and hop, rock and roll, swing, groove, jazz, blues, doo-wop, bebop, funk, and street slang. Then you have street slang for money, currency exchange, for example, bucks, racks, stack, bands, bread, dough, scratch, loot, mood, Benjamin, dead president, is all street slang. And the so-called sorority and fraternity. You know, so-called sorority and fraternity, and the root of the sorority fraternity of old world secret society from Africa, Asia, and Europe. And the initiation ritual for the sorority fraternity is devil worship. And you know, the United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime, and the sorority fraternity are criminals. They commit crime on and off the campus. They use and abuse tobacco products. They indulge in games of chance and gambling. They use and abuse alcohol and drugs. They indulge in immoral activity. They indulge in sexual deviance and pride. Don't be misled by the sorority fraternity. Don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. renounce the people that initiated and start the sorority and the fraternity, and denounce the whole concept and idea of a sorority and fraternity and them old world secret society from Africa, Asia, and Europe, because they be lying. Some so-called devil worship. There's no such thing as worshiping the devil or worshiping Satan. Now the sorority and the fraternity, they work and they manage the business of companies and corporations. They commit crimes against humanity, atrocities, violation of human rights and civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, water, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment, nature, and wildlife. Don't be misled by the sorority and fraternity. Don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. Let's read about the pre-13 colony history is so important. Harvard University, the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, founded March 13, 1639, came to Massachusetts. William and Mary College in Williamsburg, Virginia, founded February 8, 1693, second oldest institution of higher learning in the United States of America. Phi Beta Kappa Society, founded December 5, 1776, the College of William and Mary, recognized as the first Greek letter student society in North America. Alpha Delta Phi, first sorority founded in 1851, Wesleyan College in Macon, Georgia. The first organization to adopt the word sorority was Gamma Phi Beta, established on November 11, 1874 at Syracuse University, Syracuse, New York. And the first women's fraternity was at DuPont College, 18-something. Now the basis of the sorority and fraternity is them old world secret society, such as, for example, the Freemasons, the Eastern Star. They talk about Euclid, the mathematician, lived in Alexandria, Egypt, 1390-1425, mentioned in the Holloway manuscript, the Reed's poem, in the Cook manuscript. Then you got the Dowling manuscript. Now examples of them old world secret societies from Africa and Asia and Europe. Skull and Bones, Rosicrucian, the Sons of the Living, Third Side, the Private Side, Ordo Templarian, Knights of the Golden Eagle, the Woodman, the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, the Improved Order of Red, the B.O. Sisterhood, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, the Elks, the Lower Order, Moose, the Bilderberg Group, the Ku Klux Klan, Knights of Battalion, Knights of Columbus, the Illuminati, Fathers of the Society, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Mystic Order of the Veil, Prophets of the Enchanted Realm, the United Order of the Golden Cross, the United Ancient Druids, the National Grange, the Ancient Order of Urban Name, the Opus Dei, the Knights Templar, the Scottish Rite. It's just a few, it's some more. Then you have the Spanish Garduna, the Carbonarian, the Black Hand. You say Mafia, that's Afro-Asiatic. You say Cosa Nostra, that's Latin. The Triad, the Yakuza, the Osiris. It's just a few, it's some more. Just like I've been saying, there ain't no such thing, no blood gang, no crip gang in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing, no bloodstone, no limestone in Chicago, Illinois. No such thing. It's that East Coast bitch. The East Coast bitch. Be lying. ain't no such thing, no blood gang, no Crip gang in Chicago, no such thing, no Bloodstone, no Limestone, and nowhere in the history of Chicago do you see a blood gang or a Crip gang in the history of Chicago. You don't see no Bloodstone, no Limestone in the history of Chicago. The East Coast bitch. Now this, now this is the International Bill on Human Rights. And this is the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And this is the Declaration on the Rights of the Child. This is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. And this is the International Federation for Human Rights. And this is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. And this is the Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. And this is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and also the World Wildlife Fund. Also, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Global Rights, Frontline Defenders, Human Rights Without Frontiers, the International Center for Human Rights, Conservation International, Wildlife Conservation Society, the Conservation Fund, Legal Conservation Board, Earthwatch Institute, the Service Association, Earth Just Conservation Volunteer. Also, the Wildlife Conservation Network, Endangered Wildlife Trust, Biodiversity and Nature Conservation Association, Rare Species Conservation Center, the Wildlife Research and Conservation Trust, the Rainforest Trust, the International Rainforest Conservation Organization, the Rainforest Alliance, the Rainforest Action Network, Biodiversity International, Earth Day Network, Environmental Defense Fund, Friends of the Earth, Friends of Nature, Greenpeace, the Nature Conservation, Wildlife Conservation Society, Soil and Water Conservation, Clean Water Action, World Water Council, Marine Conservation Institute, Marine Conservation Alliance, Ocean Preservation Society, Ocean Society, Global Ocean Commission, and International Marine Life Alliance. There's just a few. There are many more organizations, such more we just mentioned. And so, now this is a list of place names of Native American origin in the United States. For example, state names: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Scroll down to the bottom where it says see also, and you'll see a list of place names of indigenous origin in America. Now, you remember we talked about piracy and pirates. devil worship, Satanism. Now, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, the Bureau of Justice, said National Gang Center Bulletin, and the title of that bulletin, History of Street Gangs in the United States, written by Mr. James C. Howell and Mr. John P. Moore. And you can find that same information on a quick reference, Wikipedia title, Gangs in the United States. As you know, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he wrote all those epistles. Just in the New Testament, he wrote all the epistles. And in those epistles, he called himself an apostle. He a self-proclaimed apostle. He wasn't no apostle. He was lying. And see, the man-made religious organization, they use those epistles that he wrote. They be lying. Those two verses, those what the man-made religious organization used. Catholic Church and all that particular church, they be lying. Then you have all these Protestant churches, they be lying. The Stone Camel movement and all these churches of Christ and all them, they be lying. They all lying. All lies. All lies. All lies. I'm gonna get ready to end my Instagram video. Now those were just a few of the free logo design websites that you could go to make anti-gang logo. And like I said, I'm gonna get ready to end my Instagram video. And after I end my Instagram video, I'm gonna end this video that I'm a YouTube video that I'm recording. Then I'm gonna do my Periscope video. Tell you what, I'm gonna make it an even 3 hours on my video. So let me do this before I record. I'm gonna make this almost about 8 minutes. It'll be 3 hours. About 5 more minutes. There'll be an even 3 hours. Then I'm gonna start. There'll be part 1. So I'm gonna date today's video. It'll be November 24th, 2019, part 1. Then November 24th, 2019, part 2. So about 5 more minutes. See, when I started my video, it was like about 2:10 a.m. About a couple of minutes, a few minutes after 2. So like I said, I just ended my Instagram video. So now I'm gonna do my Periscope video. About 3 more minutes. It'll be an even 3 hours. Yeah, cause I mean, what, 5:07 a.m. So about 10 minutes. I started excuse me. I started recording. Must have been about 10 minutes after 2 in the morning. See, so now it's 5:08, 2:50. So like I said, before I start my Periscope video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the video that I've been recording. And it'll be an even, about 1 minute now, it'll be an even 3 hours, so matter of fact. It's going to be an even 3 hours. And it's going to be dated November the 24th, 2019. This will be part 1.